Hello everyone, I'm Albert Tricasso, the host of Humanity Matters. And today, September the 11th, 2012, also known as 2012, marks the 11th anniversary that 3,000 of us died and were attacked on September the 11th, 2001. It has been 11 years. It is my hope that all of you remember that terrible day and that you are vigilant and dedicated to the fact that we will never accept terrorism. Not only in America, condolences are with all of us who lost people, those of you who've lost people, and of course, it goes without saying that we feel for you. I also want to mention all of the soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen and women who perished in the preceding wars defending our freedoms. And I want to thank those who are still serving. But today I want to do something on this anniversary that may offend many. But I don't believe that a free nation can remain a free nation if that nation does not know the reality of how to remain free. And in that, to honor those dead, I want to speak about how we can end terrorism. You see, my friends, we have brave men and women defending America and many other nations. We have a war on terrorism. We are failing. Not the men and women. They're doing their job. But many of you may not know this. The Taliban has somehow regained control of most of the country of Afghanistan. It does not make sense to me because we have one of the best militaries on earth. And yet somehow we are not winning every battle. So, we then need to ask, is it the failure of our men and women? And absolutely not. Is it the failure of our military capabilities? Absolutely not. So then what we need to ask is, how do we end terrorism? And this could be a very long-winded speech, but that is not appropriate for this anniversary. We end terrorism by making sure that every American has certain needs met. Health, clothing, education, and food. And then we extend that to make sure that every human being on the planet has their needs met. And then if everyone in the countries that support terrorism had their needs met, the power of terrorism would be gone. You must understand that most of the people who are suicidal terrorists do it for the money to help their families because they are so impoverished. And yes, it is a terrible thing that they do this, and they must be arrested, maybe executed, and certainly dealt with. But if we as a people find a way to provide food, clothing, opportunity, education, and health care to all the peoples of the world, terrorists will have no power. We cannot end terrorism through military. It's not possible. Anyone who thinks it is, every time you kill one terrorist, another is born. We would have to do genocide around the globe. That's not going to happen. That should not happen. So what do? We provide what we need. Now, I know everybody's probably thinking, oh, so you want America to be the sucker around the globe. No. We have a coalition fighting terrorism. We get each country to donate to the people who need it. Yes, it is a different way of thinking. Some may call it communism. It's not. It's called the moral thing to do. If we do these things, we will live in a safer, more secure planet. We will also be able to say that we have done something in our lifetime that has never been done in the history of humanity. So the answer to ending terrorism is to providing everybody with their needs, not with their wants, with their needs. People need food. People need housing. People need clothes. People need education. People need medical care. Now, if we form a coalition around the globe, then it will truly be a war on terrorism. Because once there is no poverty, the majority of the people who are terrorists or suicidal terrorists for hire will not exist. So, to truly honor the men and women who died on September the 11th, 2001, we must start to petition our government and all governments around the globe to change the way they fight the war on terrorism. Yes, still do the military thing, self-defense and all that, of course. But let us start providing the needs of all Americans first, and then all peoples. And we will need the help of every country. We will need Pakistan's help. We will need Britain's help. We will need Russia's help, China's help. You name it, America's help. But if we want to end terrorism and make our planet a much safer, happier, healthier planet, this is what we must do. I ask you to honor every soldier, every Marine, every airman, every Coast Guard person, everyone who's ever put on the uniform to protect America. And I want you to honor the dead and the survivors of the 9/11 attacks. I want you to start by calling Congress and coming up with this idea. Let us educate. Let us provide the needs of all peoples. And when we do that, terrorism will be nothing more than a footnote in human history. Not to mention what this could do for us as a people. So today, let us reflect, let us think, and let us think about the future of all humanity. And one other thing I want to throw to you. It will take effort on your part. But if there are men and women who are willing to die for our freedom, how can you do any less than make the calls that I am about to ask you to make? I'm asking you to call 3 people. Your 2 congressmen and women, and 2 senators and your 1 congressman. And you can call all of them by calling 1-202-224-3121. I'm asking you to be a patriotic American. I'm asking you to remember the victims and to prevent future victims of people of terrorism in our country. We don't want any more victims from terrorism in our country or any country. So let us change the way we are. And I want to throw something at you. I've been reading a lot of books lately, and I talk about a cooperative society. Well, it turns out that there's a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Efficient People. The gentleman, Stephen Covey, actually mentions a win-win scenario, cooperative scenario, and then there's a book, The Science of Getting Rich. He also speaks of a cooperative society and scenario. So I told you these things before I even knew of these books' existence. So it is not that radical. It is not that bizarre. It is certainly not communism. The problem is, America, we must now think in a totally different way. And we must not let the politicians direct us as to how we shall think. Let us honor those soldiers and honor those victims. Not just today, September the 11th, 2012, but every day from now until the end of eternity. I'm Albert Turcasso, and I approve of this message because it's the right thing to talk about. And it's because I care about you and I care about everybody in America. Quite frankly, I care about everybody on this earth. Let's change minds. Let's change hearts. Let's change actions. And let's change the way we do things on this planet so that we can have the greatest planet in the history of the universe. And you can be part of it. So just remember, everybody, that you and humanity and all forms of life really does matter.